Jason, as it is each and every week, the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast is brought to the good people by Budget Blinds of Lee Summit.
Budget Blinds!
Jason,
Yes, Nick.
there is one thing you need to know about the future.
What's the future?
The future is automation.
All hail our robot shade overlords.
Hey, remember, automated shades provide a safer environment for children and your pets
All hail.
due to their cordless nature. Also, those programmable features, they allow you to use heating or cooling only when you need it for maximum energy efficiency.
So when you are ready to get in, what you need to do is get in early on the robot shade overlord automation now so that you're on their good side when they take over in the future.
That's right, and it'll help your pocketbook.
And where do I go to do that, Nick?
Go visit our friends at Budget Blinds of Lee Summit, right in the heart of Lee Summit, downtown, right on Main Street. Tell them Jason and Nick sent you. Hello and welcome to this Friday conversation of the Lee Summit Town Hall podcast. I have today a returning guest, John Cundiff. I think this is your third or fourth visit, so welcome back.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
A few more and you get a jacket.
Hey!
You get a prize. Hey, I asked you to come in this week because we are a couple weeks away from the start of Global Entrepreneurship Week. And Lee Summit gets to play a role in Kansas City's efforts that go along with that. So I want to start very, very basically.
Sure.
What the heck is Global Entrepreneurship Week?
That is a great question. Global Entrepreneurship is a 12-year running, and when we say global, it's put on by Coffin Foundation, KC SourceLink. There's 160 countries celebrating entrepreneurs, Global Entrepreneur Week. There's 160 countries across the globe celebrating entrepreneurs this week of November 18th. Kansas City being one of the largest cities in that group. So there's literally thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs who are going to take a week, and we're going to celebrate job creation and growing and fostering growth and networking and giving us all that support team and hope that we're on the right path. We're all together. We're all on the same team, and let's help each other grow. And that's what Global Entrepreneur Week really was about, was celebrating entrepreneurs globally and supporting and getting the word out that this is a great way to go. And so there's programs all over the city. Hundreds of programs are going to happen that week, all over the city here. From downtown to all the way out to here to Lee Summit.
Well, you talked about how Kansas City is one of the bigger participants, and it's sponsored by our own Coffin Foundation, and KC SourceLink play that big role. We always want a way to make ourselves feel good that our own backyard is big, but it actually kind of is when you're talking about that. So, I guess I'm curious, and this is because I am the cynic. What is Kansas City's role? Why are we considered one of the hot spots and a big player in this kind of thing?
Well, Kansas City is very spoiled. We have Kauffman Foundation. And Kauffman Foundation, Ewing Kauffman, we were just talking baseball, Ewing Kauffman celebrated entrepreneurs and wanted to foster that. And the Kauffman Foundation is known, obviously, globally as supporting and promoting entrepreneurs. So when you look East Coast, West Coast, Central, Kansas City is a diamond when it comes to entrepreneurs, and people are noticing, and people know we're out here. So it's kind of the Silicon Valley of the Midwest is what we are. Yeah, and it's great to be able to have that reputation for the city. Yeah.
So what are the events that are going to happen? How are we going to celebrate entrepreneurship during that week, and what's going on?
Yeah. So Velocity Lee Summit's got we're going to run 4 events. We start on Monday through Thursday, where we will be celebrating entrepreneurs from Lee Summit and abroad, and really want to showcase what we're doing out here. So Monday we got Jeff Danley going to do an innovation workshop. And this is where even big businesses come in. And how do we continue to innovate our businesses to continue to stay up with the trends? And he has a great program. So we got that running on Monday. Tuesday we have Pitch Perfect. This is a program that helps. So when you go to invest or go to investors and want to pitch, you got to do it correctly. What's your 3-minute elevator speech? How do you get your value option your presentation done, and get the message across to get you to the next step. So Ben Rayo and Christian Blake are going to come out, and they're going to run a whole program from start to finish, from concept, storyboard, to the pitch. We also have the winner of Lee Summit Innovate 8 program, Innovation 8, will come out and do their pitch. And so we'll be able to say, here's the pitch, here's how you do it, and let's make it even better. The next one, we got women entrepreneurs are going to share their secrets. We have 3 participants from Kansas City Business Journal, Women Who Mean Business. They're honorees from Women Who Mean Business. And they're going to come out and talk about, share their secrets of how they started, how they've worked, how the women entrepreneurs, and how they've grown and how they've scaled. So we have Diana Shalou-Leclerc from HitchFit. We got Selena Tio from Belfry, a nationally known chef. And then we have on Lee Summit, Vicki Cundiff from Weedman.
You know her. You know her just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I don't know how we got her, but it was hard. But and then we have Rachel Qualls, who's a serial entrepreneur right here in Lee Summit and on our board of Velocity, is going to be moderating it. And so they're going to be able to really share the secrets of women entrepreneurism, and it's going to be a great program. We're going to round the week out with our own breweries in town. We have all four breweries coming.
I may be a little personally excited about this one.
Yeah, well, we got a great moderator for that one too, Nick. But we're going to have Smoke, Grains and Tap. We've got Fringe and Diametrics.
Formerly New Axiom.
New Axiom. And they're going to come in, and this is a great one. This is a maker-type panel. How do you take something that maybe you started out in your garage and you started this passion of something, and now you've grown it into a business? And so the story of makers, the maker entrepreneur, is what they're going to bring to the table. And so we're going to round that out on Thursday. So we're really excited. Like, we're going to really showcase Lee Summit and showcase what's going on out here, as well as celebrate entrepreneurs, what's happening out here Southeast.
I'm excited about that last, not just because it's beer, and beer is always fun,
Yeah.
but I've interviewed 3 of those 4 teams on this show before, and just to hear the story, and if nobody's heard them, this will be a great event to do that, of taking basically a hobby and making it into successful business.
Right.
I mean, that's just a great story. I think it's something all of us at some point in our life dream of I wish I could just make money doing this thing I love.
Yeah, don't they always say if you the ideal thing is to have a job that it's your passion?
Right.
That's what these guys have done.
Right.
That's what they're doing. And to hear their story, to transition from a passion to actually working on a business, running a business that does your passion, that's a great transitional story that you need to hear, that all entrepreneurs need to hear. How do we transition from working in our business to working on our business? And that's what they're going to be able to do.
Are all of these events that are going on? There's you talked about the few that are here in Lee Summit, and there's hundreds
across the city,
across the metro area. Is it just for an audience of fellow entrepreneurs? Is it for everybody? Who all's going to go to these, and who all should go to these?
Well, I think anybody that's in business, I think even from a CEO, corporate world, there's like the innovation Jeff Daly's doing. If you're in a corporate world, maybe it's not an entrepreneur, but it's still going to teach corporations how to continue to innovate. So I think anybody that's in business, or just about anybody who's interested in entrepreneurism, should be going to these things. It's talking from startups. If you have a concept, there's programs for how you have a concept. How do you take it to startup? People have already started a business. How do I scale it? There's a whole track on technology. What's the latest in technology? So I think it's for anybody, quite frankly.
You've been doing this for 35 years. You've been running your own business. You started small. You've grown it and scaled it. You still sound a little bit excited about some of these topics and going to these things. You're not tired of it yet?
No. I don't think you ever get tired of it. I think entrepreneurs, once you get it in your blood, is the need to continue to educate yourself and to want to learn more. And what's great is I want to learn from other entrepreneurs. I want to hear their story. I want to hear how they started. How did you scale? How did you get bigger? What was your transition like? because I'm going to learn something from it. Even at 30-some plus years, we're still learning. We're still learning to be better.
But before we started recording, you and I kind of had a similar conversation where
Right.
just being around other like-minded individuals,
Right.
other people who've been there, kind of who can share those stories. There's something to it, and there's something
Right.
invigorating about it.
Well, and you also realize you're not out on an island all by yourself. I know. You're not on an island all by yourself.
Right.
There's other people doing what you're doing. It's one of the things when I first got in business and I'd go to a conference and I realized I got all these problems. I got all these challenges. And I'd sit down with somebody. They had the same ones. And all of a sudden I didn't feel like it's just me. Now we can literally learn and grow from that. So I think that's why I stay passionate about it. And if you think about entrepreneurs, you're taking a concept. So you take a concept, you do a plan, you start to implement the plan, it starts to execute the plan, you start to see it working. How exciting is that? And
Well,
you continue to evolve and grow and change.
you and I have talked about this before about the planning part, and that you get
Yeah.
really passionate about that, and that is probably the most important part
Yeah.
before you make that leap, right? Is putting together that plan and kind of creating the final vision, if you will, or the goal vision. Probably not the final vision. I think 'cause we all know it changes.
It changes.
It changes, and it has to change.
Yeah.
But you set that goal of where you want to be.
Yeah, you got to have the vision. You don't know if you don't know where you're going, how are you going to get there?
Right.
Right? And when I look at young entrepreneurs, it's probably the place I start with. What's your 3-year? What's your 5-year? What's your 10-year?
How often do you find that to be a difficult answer for them to give? When you sit down and, okay, I've heard your passion. Now, what do you see in 1 year,
Right.
3 year, 5 year?
I think 1-2 years is pretty easy. When you start looking 3 to 5, it really forces you to think, why am I doing what I'm doing? How much of it is the day? How much is a week? How much a month? And how much in the year? And if we can say, hey, this is my path, how do you allocate resources if you don't know where you're going? So I always encourage, when we first started business, we built an org chart for $1 million company. First, we already had it. Downside was it was Vic and I's name on every position, right?
Right.
But we knew where we were going. And when it was time to grow, we knew where we needed to place people. And so it was really by intention of growth, not by luck or happenstance. And I think that gives you a better chance of success, just quite frankly.
Personally, I always find that the hardest part to me, and it almost doesn't matter what aspect of life we talk about. For me to focus in and say, in 5 years, this is what I see. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard for me.
Right.
And then, actually, it almost makes it a little easier when it's business, because then I have other paperwork, concrete things you can rely on. But
you can rely on, but you also got to look at your business. It's your life. So there's a parallel, railroad tracks parallel. Those two lanes, the life lane and the business lane, running parallel. So how do you use your business for your life in both? So I think when you look down the road, where does Nick want to be in 3 years, personally, professionally? Where do you want to be in 10 years, personally, professionally? How do we make your business do these things?
And I'm also one of those, I pride myself on it. I like to fly by the seat of my pants.
Yeah.
And so when I made the decision to try to go out on my own, I had to fight against that urge.
Oh, I'm the same way.
And actually make concrete plans and goals, because I'll just let myself kind of, freewheel through it. And
I think in a good business, you have to have checks and balances. And so a goal gives you a check, like, am I on pace? Am I not on pace?
Right.
Right. And if I am, great. If I'm not, what I need to change, what I need to adjust, and how do I get there? So a goal should be something that's attainable with effort. A vision needs to be attainable with effort. Let's get there. And if we're off pace, let's get back on track.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to Global Entrepreneurship Week. That was a nice detour, though. I think just talking about entrepreneurs and what those processes are like. But these are the kind of things that we're talking about in all of these different sessions, and I like that there is a variety of different sessions, because there are there are different experiences, and you mentioned that there's going to be one just for female entrepreneurs because what they go through is different.
It is
and
different.
There is a different perspective and different hurdles that they have to clear.
Well, it's just like the conversation you and I just had. That happens at all the events. So every event has opportunities for this network opportunity. And when we start talking about growing an entrepreneur ecosystem, Lisa, that's what we want. We want to provide these events, and we want to create collisions so that you can come and network with this guy who's done what, or this gal who's done what you've done, or what you want to do. And so these put us in that position. And so, yeah, it's exciting that's why I get excited about it. And when I go to an event and I watch people connect, and then they come back and you see them connecting again, and now we're learning. That's exciting. That's exciting.
Well, I think that's a good way for me to kind of actually switch gears a little bit. I didn't mean to do it this early, but you brought up that the community you're trying to create in Lee Summit with Velocity Lee Summit, and you're chair. Is that the right word? Are you board chair?
Yeah, that'll work.
El Jefe.
Yeah, that'll work.
Let's do an update because I think you've been on before to talk about Velocity and what Velocity was starting out to be. Well, we're a couple years in now. Yeah. Is it following the path that you said? Are you creating that community? Are you seeing the response that you wanted to see?
Right. Yeah, we're Velocity's a startup, just like what we're promoting. When we first started out, we really started saying we need to do some events. We got to get our name out there. We got to showcase what we're doing, and we've done that. And we've created these networking opportunities. And now we're kind of shifting more into we continue with the events, but now we have a whole mentorship program and educational workshop side. So we're bringing in where you can actually partner with mentors. We have a mentee program that's 20 mentors, 20 mentees right now going. It's a year-long program, and you get to go one-on-one with people who have already done it and learn from them. So this is where we can take our events and we can really start moving the needle on growing companies and growing people out here in Lee Summit and Southeast Kansas City, and saying, let's take your business to the next level. Let's find where your bottlenecks are. Let's find where we can gaps. Let's help you work through the next phase of getting there. And so that's the next wave of us continue doing our events and continue to work one-on-one and create opportunities to grow. Yeah.
What has been, I guess, from the rest of the community, like the rest of the business community, how has their response been, and are you seeing it support the rest? Can we show how this has helped the business sector grow in the community? Is that a fair question for me to ask?
Yeah, no, it's a very fair question, and that's really ultimately what we're about. Right now, if you look at a startup, and this comes out of Kauffman Foundation, we were talking about Kauffman earlier, they have a Kauffman Index. And out of every startup brings like and I'm going to be off 5.2, 5.4 jobs per startup, right? That's pretty crazy.
I would not have guessed that high.
You wouldn't have guessed
I wouldn't have guessed that at all.
80% of those people that are starting jobs are doing it out of opportunity, not out of necessity. In other words, they're not doing it because they don't have jobs. It's because they see they have some passion. They have something they want to do on their own. And so the more we can nurture those people and create more jobs and grow, because true net job growth comes from startups, right? That's where true net job growth. And that's where we really land and say, we want to nurture these startups. We got to nurture the startups because they start small. The interesting thing is it doesn't happen overnight. Startups scale, startups grow, and then we just keep feeding that fire so that we can keep creating jobs for out here and keep growing this economy. Now when people look at the Lee Summit area, they got a dynamic entrepreneurship program going. They got a dynamic group going out there.
What are those signposts, I guess, then that will show that kind of success?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you exactly what it is. It's hard to say that this program generated that many jobs.
Well, I mean, even just aside from a signpost that says Velocity worked, what are some signposts that say that entrepreneur community in this area is growing, and it is a part of the economic growth of this community, of any community.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it is the job growth that we see.
Is that the best?
And entrepreneurs coming to the city because they want to be involved in this area. We're retaining entrepreneurs and attracting entrepreneurs. And when we go out and promote Lee Summit, when with our community partners, the BDC, Downtown Chamber, and Velocity and community marketing, this is a whole group working in unison, promoting the city and promoting our economic growth in the long term. And so you need all four of these working together.
What are some of the next goals that the Velocity group is working on? What's the next year? What are some things?
Yeah, the next year we have we want to start with our professional advisor partner program, which is connecting entrepreneurs to the accountants and the lawyers and the wealth advisors and the bankers of the world. Where they come to them, and they need us, and we can vice versa. That's another program we got. We got a whole nother lineup of events. We have our signature event, Pitch Pub Crawl, which I got to get a plug in there for Pitch Pub Crawl. Signature event, that one just got picked up. Kauffman Foundation's a key sponsor now for us, and we bring in 9 companies into Lee Summit. We showcase our downtown. They come in, they do their pitches, 3 pitches at 3 venues, and then we pick an ultimate winner. They have to go in front of a kind of a Shark Tank and get to pick a winner out of that. We had over 100 people there in July. We'll do another one on December 12th. Mark your calendar. And it's already scaling up to be a great program again. So we got our signature event there. And then we want to continue to add more workshops and continue to expand on the mentor program. So we work in 4 different buckets: events, mentorship, and workshops. Certainly our financial sides, and then of course our communications. And those are the buckets that we work in.
Well, as we wrap things up for this week, let's list one more time. If people are interested and they want to go to the Global Entrepreneurship Weeks, specifically, they want to go to the ones here in Lee Summit, where can they go? How can they register? Is registration required?
Yeah. So the way to get hooked up to GEW, go to gewkc.org. You can come through the Velocity site. If you go online to velocityleesummit.org, you can go right into there and get into our events, and you go in and register for the events. It's happening right now. It's really easy to get into those right now. So KC SourceLink is another way to get to it. There's a number of ways to get to the venues.
There we go. And you just mentioned it. The signature event for Velocity is the Pitch Pub Crawl. That's happening December 12th. Do people need to register if they want to go watch that, or if they want to make a pitch?
Right. So there's 2 things you can do right now. If you want to pitch, if you're a company who wants to come in and pitch, you need to come in through and just come into the Velocity site, and it'll direct you how to get registered to pitch, as well as if you want to attend, you can go back to the Velocity site, go to the events, and just register right through the site. So it's velocityleesummit.org. Yeah.
All right. Well, John, I want to thank you for coming on again. For your third trip, and thanks for letting us know a little bit about Global Entrepreneurship Week,
Sure.
an update on what Velocity is doing. I think people are excited about the role that our community gets to play in this on a pretty large scale. So
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will talk to everybody next week. You have been listening to Lee Summit Town Hall, a Link to Lee Summit podcast with hosts Nick Parker and Jason Norberry. A proud member of the Fredcast Network, you can subscribe to this podcast on most of your favorite podcast apps and catch us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for all the news, analysis, and conversations on the Lee Summit community. Connect with us on Facebook at Link to Lee Summit or on Twitter at LS Town Hall.